Russia's Su-57 Felon evolves from stealth fighter to high-capacity air defense interceptor. Russia's Su-57 Felon is appearing with external air-to-air missile loadouts that could signal a major shift in how Russia intends to use its fifth-generation fighter, according to open-source imagery circulating since early June 2026. If the configuration is authentic, it suggests the aircraft is being adapted from a stealth-focused strike platform into a high-capacity defensive counter-air asset, prioritizing missile volume and rapid interception to strengthen Russia's homeland air defense network against drones, cruise missiles, and other aerial threats. The reported configuration includes external AQUASP launchers carrying R-73, R-74, and R-77 series missiles, with some images also indicating a possible 101 KSN targeting pod beneath the left engine nacelle. This combination would allow the Su-57 to trade low observability for greater magazine depth and enhanced sensor capability, reflecting a broader evolution in air defense doctrine in which advanced fighters serve as mobile, networked interceptors protecting strategic airspace rather than exclusively conducting stealth penetration missions. Since the beginning of June 2026, online circulating images have shown Russian Su-57 Felon fighters in unusual external weapons configurations. The aircraft, long associated with internal weapons carriage and low observable strike missions, now the aircraft appears to be fitted with external weapon stations, including pylons and AKUS-type missile ejection launchers for R-73, R-74, and R-77 family air-to-air missiles. The imagery remains unconfirmed by the Russian Ministry of Defense, but visual analysis suggests a mixed air-to-air configuration involving R-73, R-74 short-range missiles, R-77 family medium-range missiles, and a 101 KSN-type targeting pod under the left engine nacelle. If accurate, the configuration points to a major evolution in the Su-57's role, from a stealth-focused strike and air superiority platform toward a flexible defensive counter-air asset for protecting Russian airspace. Ezoic. The Su-57 was designed around internal carriage, using low observable shaping, internal weapons bays, sensor fusion, and advanced avionics to reduce radar signature while conducting air superiority and strike missions. Rosoborn Export describes the Su-57E as a fifth-generation multi-role fighter intended for aerial, ground, and surface targets, with a maximum payload of 7,500 kilograms and a combat radius of 1,250 kilometers. The new imagery, however, points to a different employment logic, a Felon operating not as a deep penetration VLO platform, but as a heavily armed defensive counter-air asset inside Russian-controlled airspace. The first airborne image reportedly shows 4 visible external pylons AQUASP launchers, 2 wing pylons and 2 fuselage-mounted stations directly beneath the engine air intakes. In that configuration, no missiles or pods are visible, which may indicate a ferry, test, or post-mission state. The presence of empty pylons is important. If the aircraft was returning from a combat air patrol with missiles expended, it would support the interpretation of an Su-57 used in active air defense sorties. If it was a test aircraft, it still demonstrates that the VKS is validating external carriage patterns that were secondary to the original stealth concept. Ezoic. A second airborne image shows 6 external pylons AQUASP launchers, with the same basic configuration as the first image, but with additional wing stations. In this case, visible air-to-air missiles appear to be carried under the wings, including R-73, R-74 short-range missiles, and R-77 family medium-range missiles. The R-77, known in NATO terminology as AA-12 is Russia's principal active radar beyond visual range missile family. The export RVVSD version is officially described as a medium-range Fernforget missile able to engage air targets at up to 110 kilometers in heavy electronic countermeasures conditions, using inertial guidance with radio correction before active radar homing in the terminal phase. In tactical terms, external R-77, R-77M carriage could turn the Su-57 into a high-end airborne missile truck for combat air patrol and defensive counter-air missions. The ground image adds another important layer. It reportedly shows 2 pylons AQUASP launchers carrying R-73 missiles, while a 101 KSN-type targeting pod is visible under the left engine intake. The visible configuration, combining R-73, R-74 short-range air-to-air missiles with a targeting pod below the left engine nacelle, points to a mission profile optimized for drone hunting, cruise missile interception, and defensive airspace control. The R-73, R-74 family, known in NATO terminology as AA-11 Archer, is designed for within visual range combat. Rosoborn Export describes the R-73E as an all-aspect passive infrared missile with thrust vectoring control, a 30 km maximum firing range, and 45-degree off-precise engagement capability. This makes the missile suitable not only for dogfighting, but also for fast visual or infrared engagements against low-altitude drones, cruise missiles, helicopters, and other aerial threats. The presence of R-73, R-74 missiles is especially important because it suggests a probable drone hunter and cruise missile interception role. Against slow, low-flying, low-signature targets, stealth is less important than detection, identification, reaction time, and missile availability. A Su-57 operating inside Russian airspace could be cued by ground-based radar and air defense command networks, then use its onboard and 036 multi-array AESA radar, 101KS electro-optical suite, infrared search and track capability, and pod sensor to complete the sensor-to-shooter loop. In this role, the targeting pod is not only an air-to-ground tool, it may support target classification, long-range visual identification, and passive tracking under restrictive rules of engagement. The AQUASP launcher issue is also central to the configuration. Before the early 2026 modernization activity, the Su-57 was associated with a 4-AQUASP arrangement, replacing older AQ-170 style launcher concepts and usually linked to our Su-57 class medium-range missile integration. If the current imagery truly shows expanded external launcher use, then the development is not improvised. It may reflect a deliberate effort to create mission-specific Su-57 loadouts, internal carriage for stealth penetration, and external carriage for air defense patrols where missile mass is more valuable than maximum low observability. If estimates of up to 6 internally carried R-77 class missiles are accurate, adding 4 external BVR missiles could theoretically raise the Su-57's air-to-air loadout to around 10 medium-range missiles. Even if the exact number depends on missile type and bay configuration, the tactical logic remains clear. More missiles per sortie increases salvo density and endurance during defensive counter-air missions. The tactical trade-off is clear. Internal carriage preserves low observability, reduces drag, and supports penetration of contested NATO-style integrated air defense systems. External carriage increases radar cross-section and reduces the stealth advantage, but it also raises magazine depth. If the Su-57 can carry up to 6 R-77 class missiles internally, adding 4 external BVR missiles could theoretically raise the air-to-air loadout to 10 medium-range missiles. That is a different mission model. Not silent first-night striker, but high-end airborne interceptor, operating behind friendly lines under Russian PVO coverage, cued by ground radar, S-400 batteries, Panzer systems, and airborne command control nodes. Geostrategically, this configuration reflects pressure on Russia's air defense architecture. Ukrainian long-range drones and cruise missiles have forced Russia to defend a vast rear area, including airbases, energy infrastructure, command sites, and defense industrial facilities. The Su-57's appearance with short-range missiles and a sensor pod suggests the VKS may be adapting scarce fifth-generation assets for homeland defensive counter-air, not only prestige strike missions. That would mirror a broader global trend in which advanced fighters, including Western fifth-generation aircraft, are tasked against lower-cost aerial threats when the threat penetrates deep enough to become strategically disruptive. The configuration could change the air battle by expanding Russia's layered air defense from a ground-based IEDs into a more mobile, sensor-rich airborne shield. A Felon carrying external R-77 class missiles could extend BVR engagement zones, while R-73, R-74 missiles provide fast WVR shots against drones, cruise missiles, helicopters, or aircraft attempting low-altitude penetration. The cost-exchange ratio remains problematic. Using an Su-57 and high-end AAMs against drones is expensive. But militarily, the logic is not purely economic. It is about protecting strategic depth, preserving high-value assets, and preventing Ukraine from forcing Russia's rear-area airspace into a state of constant vulnerability. The new Su-57 external payload configurations suggest a significant evolution in Russian air power doctrine. The Felon is no longer being presented only as a stealth strike fighter, but as a flexible air defense platform able to sacrifice low observability for missile capacity, sensor reach, and rapid interception. Whether these images show combat return, trials, or a developing operational loadout, the message is strong. Russia is adapting the Su-57 to the realities of drone warfare, cruise missile threats, and homeland airspace defense. The Felon's future role may be defined less by stealth alone and more by how effectively it can plug gaps in Russia's increasingly stressed aerial shield.